Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamutire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 28, Puranjan becomes a woman in the next life. Text number 59 onwards. Tasmistvam ramya sprishto ramamano ashrut smritihi tatsangadi drishim prapto dasham papi yasim prabho. My dear friend, when you enter such a body along with the women of material desires, become overly absorbed in sense enjoyment. Because of this, you have forgotten your spiritual life. So this is that Brahman is speaking, and Brahman is the super soul, Paramatma. He has come in front of Puranjani or Puranjan or Vedarbhi now, and he's speaking to her. Due to your material conceptions, you are placed in various miserable conditions. When a person becomes materialist, he has no capacity to hear about spiritual existence. Forgetfulness of spiritual existence entangles a man more and more in material existence. Such is the result of sinful life. Various bodies are developed with the material ingredients because of different types of sinful activities. King Puranjan assumed the body of a woman, Vedarbhi, as a result of his sinful activities. Bhagavad Gita clearly says, Striyo Vaishyas Tatha Shudra, that such a body is low-born. If one takes shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, he can be elevated to the highest perfection, even though he be low-born. One acquires low births when one's spiritual intelligence is reduced. So obviously, Prabhupada says this is a low body. Everybody is a Shudra. Kalo Shudra Sambhava. So everybody is a Shudra. So everybody is practically low born in Kali Yuga. But anybody can take shelter of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he can be elevated to the highest perfection, even though he be low born. And what to speak of only Shudras? Anybody, Malecha, Chandal, anybody can take shelter and become a Vaishnava. So Prabhupada says one acquires lower births when one's spiritual intelligence is reduced. So this is what the Brahman or Super Soul Paramatma is telling Vedarbhi. Due to your material conceptions, you are placed in various miserable conditions. And this is what happens with everybody, all of us, going through so many species of life, so many miserable conditions, life after life, and still we don't learn our lesson. And today, actually, I was speaking to a devotee here, and we were discussing about this corona situation. Here it is worse in the sense, yes, number of deaths are more than in India, and it is spreading very fast. But at the same time, we all are basically confined to our homes. Yes, we go out, do necessary things, and just come back. And that's what we were discussing. Just imagine how many sins we all, the whole worldly population, must have committed that Krishna had to resort to this kind of punishment. So far, in the known history of the world, this kind of punishment never happened. Never. Not to this much. so sinful we are. And this is only beginning of Kali Yuga. It's only 5,000 years into Kali Yuga. And just imagine what will happen, what we are going to do later on when the Kali Yuga really progresses, and what kind of punishments Krishna must be having in his mind for us. But problem is we still don't learn. Are people becoming more spiritual now? I don't think so. It doesn't look like. Where in the world people are becoming spiritual? Nowhere. Everybody just blaming the government. What the government is going to do? They also made of same kind of people. They're not coming from spiritual world or heavenly planets. So these sins that we have committed, we have to pay for them. Natvam vidarbha duhita nayam vira suhrittava napatistvam puranjanya ruddho navmukhe yaya. Actually, you are not the daughter of Vidarbha, nor is this man Maledhvaj, your well-wishing husband, nor were you the actual husband of Puranjani. You were simply captivated in this body of 9 gates. So this is the fact of the soul. In the material world, many living entities come into contact with one another, and increasing their attachment to a particular type of body, become related as father, husband, mother, wife, etc. Actually, every living entity is a separate individual being, and it is because of his contact. And it is because of his contact with matter that he comes together with other bodies and becomes falsely related. False bodies create various associations in name of family, community, society, and nationality. Actually, every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the living entities are overly engrossed in the material body. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, appears and gives instructions in the form of Bhagavad Gita and Vedic literatures. The Supreme Lord gives these instructions because he is the eternal friend of the living entities. His instructions are important because by them the living entity can obtain liberation from bodily engagement. As water passes down a river, many straws and grasses are carried from the shore. These straws and grasses come together in the river's current, but when the waves toss this way and that, they're separated and carried somewhere else. Similarly, the innumerable living entities within this material world are being carried by the waves of material nature. Sometimes the waves bring them together and they form friendships and relate to one another on a bodily basis of family, community, or nationality. Eventually, they are thrown out of association by the waves of material nature. This process has been going on since the creation of material nature. It's a nice example Prabhupada is giving. It's just like the bunch of straws in the river's current. So the river is flowing, the water is flowing, the straws, sometimes they come together and then they flow for a while and they get separated, and then the straws come together with other straws and they flow for a while, they get separated, and then again take some other straws association. And this is what is happening in the life also. So in this life, for whatever flow of water, whatever the stream, we are together as our relatives, mother, father, husband, son, daughter, wives, brothers, sisters, other relatives, other friends in the circle, the colleagues, the neighbors. This is all temporary. And tomorrow we die, we go take birth somewhere else, and then we again form our group and on WhatsApp or Facebook, we say our group is the greatest, our friends are the best, and this and that. But there are millions and millions of other groups, and they all have friends, they all have their relatives together, and they all say we are the best and we have the most of the fun. And then we die, we take other birth, other group, and this process has been going on. So nothing in the material world is permanent. Everything is temporary. So, so why cry for the temporary things? In this regard, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings, Miche Maya Ravashe Yacha Bheshe Kacha Abu Dubu Bhai. Jeev Krishna Das, Ei Vishwas, Karle to Ar Dukh Nai. My dear living entities, you are being carried away by the waves of material nature. Sometimes you're on the surface, sometimes you're being drowned. In this way, your eternal life is being spoiled. If you simply catch hold of Krishna and take shelter of his lotus feet, you will once again get free from all the miserable material conditions. And that's the only way possible. And people work crazily hard work day and night. If suppose they want to set up a business, big corporation, big organization, work so hard, not knowing. Suppose, of course, these guys have done amazing kind of work and no doubt about it, and they practically brought the whole revolution in the whole world, like Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerman, founder of wonderful, wonderful companies. And they have worked hard to establish, they are working hard to run these companies. But just imagine when they die, what will happen? A week later, nobody will even remember. The companies will go on, the projects will go on, the employees will make money, and some employees will be fired, some more will be hired, or some changes will be made. Who will remember? They'll be just in the pages of the internet. Okay, we search for Bill Gates after he dies. Yes, he was a great guy. He established Microsoft and great brain. But then what? And in the end, what? And tomorrow, some other company will come and they'll bring out a better product than Microsoft, and everybody will forget Microsoft. They'll maybe 50 years from now, people will laugh at Microsoft. What kind of company, what kind of products they had? Now look at the technology. This is real technology. This is all temporary. Everything is temporary here. We laugh at the companies that were there 50 years ago. Oh, what childish products they had. Of course, at that time, those were the best products. So everything is temporary. And so is our existence here. All we have to do is take shelter of Krishna. That's all. That is permanent. And that will give permanent result. But we have to have that faith and then determination to go on. Maya hiesha maya srishta yat pumansam studyam satim manyase no bhayam yadve hanso pashyava yorgatim. Sometimes you think yourself a man, sometimes a chaste woman, and sometimes a neutral eunuch. This is all because of the body, which is created by the illusory energy. This illusory energy is my potency. And actually, both of us, you and I, are pure spiritual identities. Now, just try to understand this. I'm trying to explain our factual position. So, this Paramatma is telling Vidarbhi, the soul. The factual position of both the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the living entity is qualitatively one. The Supreme Lord is a Supreme Spirit, the Super Soul, and the living entity is the individual spiritual soul. Even though both of them are original spiritual identities, the living entity forgets his identity when he comes in contact with material nature and becomes conditioned. At such a time, he identifies himself as a product of the material nature. Because of the material body, he forgets that he is the eternal, Sanatan, part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is confirmed in this way. Mamai vancho jiva loke jivbhuta sanatan. The word Sanatan is found in several places in Bhagavad Gita. Both the Lord and the living entity are Sanatan, eternal, and there is also a place known as Sanatan beyond this material nature. The real residence of both the living entity and God is the domain of Sanatan, not this material world. The material world is a temporary external energy of the Lord, and the living entity is placed in this material world because he wanted to imitate the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this material world, he tries to enjoy his senses to his best capacity. All the activities of the conditioned soul within this material world are perpetually taking place in different types of bodies. But when the living entity acquires developed consciousness, he should try to rectify his situation and again become a member of the spiritual world. The process by which one can return home back to Godhead is Bhakti Yoga, sometimes called Sanatan Dharma. Instead of accepting a temporary occupational duty based on the material body, one should take to the process of Sanatan Dharma or Bhakti Yoga so that he can put an end to this perpetual bondage in material bodies and return home back to Godhead. As long as human society works on the basis of false material identification, all the so-called advancements of science and philosophy are simply useless. They only serve to mislead human society. Anda yathandha rupaniyamana. In the material world, the blind simply lead the blind, and they both fall in the ditch. And this is what the material world is. No matter how much advancement of science, philosophy, or other things that we achieve, everything is temporary and everything is entangling here. And people are being blind to their spiritual position, to their spiritual progress, and thinking, working hard in the material world that's a goal of life. That's all I have to do. Get to higher and higher and better positions, more money, more power, more influence, more followers, better this, better that. And in the end, what? Nothing. The straw just leaves this group of straws and moves away to the other group of straws. And if in this life we work so hard and so-called whatever little enjoyment we get for whatever 20, 30, 40, 50 years, even that enjoyment is not complete. It's not without all the miseries. And it comes after working so hard. And even while enjoying, we have to keep on working hard. And in the end, we don't know which species of life, which planet, which family, where we are going to take next birth. So simply a wastage of time, simply a wastage of time. If we don't develop spiritual practices, spiritual inclination. Aham bhavanna chanyastvam tvam eva aham vichakshu bhavo na no pashyanti kavyash chidram jatu managapi. My dear friend, I, the super soul, and you, the individual soul, are not different in quality, for we are both spiritual. In fact, my dear friend, you are qualitatively not different from me in your constitutional position. Just try to consider this subject. Those who are actually advanced scholars, who are in knowledge, do not find any qualitative difference between you and me. So qualitatively there is no difference, but quantitatively there is. And here Brahman is telling Vedarbi, or the super soul is telling the soul, and the soul, as we know, was very fortunate because the service, whether be rendered to the spiritual master or the soul rendered to the spiritual master. So the Paramatma is directly speaking to the soul that we both are different, although we both are same as we are spiritual, but qualitatively we are same, quantitatively we are different. So nowhere it is said that you're going to merge in me or we both are same, we are one. There's nowhere it is said that. Both the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the living entity are qualitatively one. There is no factual difference between the two. No factual difference. Factual means in Tattva, there is no difference. The Mayavadi philosophers are again and again defeated by the illusory energy because they think that there is no separation between the super soul and the individual soul, or that there is no super soul. They're also misled in thinking that everything is the super soul. However, those who are Kavya, learned scholars, actually know the facts. They do not commit such mistakes. They know that God and the individual soul are one in quality, but that the individual soul falls under the clutches of Maya, whereas the super soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is a controller of Maya. Maya is a creation of the Supreme Lord, Maya Srishta. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is a controller of Maya. So Maya is a creation of the Supreme Lord, means it is created by the Supreme Lord. So this sentence can mean different things. That's why Prabhupada said, therefore the Supreme Lord is a controller of Maya. Although one in quality with the Supreme Lord, the individual soul is under the control of Maya in the material world. Mayavadi philosophers cannot distinguish between the controller and the controlled. And that's where they make all the mistakes. So the basis of their philosophy is wrong. but this is what Paramatma, Super Soul, is speaking to Vedarbi, the soul. So I guess we can stop here. See, anybody has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, one question on Puranjan. So when he died,
Mhm.
Puranjan become daughter of Vidarbha king.
Mhm.
I'm missing
Mhm.
this link, Prabhuji, actually. And then this one, Malay Dhwaj. She got married to
Mhm.
Malay Dhwaj. Am I correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I was just trying to link that part.
So he became daughter
Thank you,
because
Prabhuji.
he was very attached to his wife as Puranjan,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
but he had performed many sacrifices. So those were the pious activities. So that's why he got the body of a princess in the house of a king, and she was very beautiful because her eyes were black. But Prabhupada gave the answer that black means she was always thinking of Krishna.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
You will.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanil Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, when you talk about this Maya, so it is again same Maya is Bahiranga Shakti, the one which we say. So,
Yeah.
um, so like we are the Tatastha Shakti, and what is Antaranga Shakti? That is Lord Himself, or something? There is something different than that.
Yog Maya.
Yog Maya is Antaranga Shakti.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of Antaranga Shakti means internal potency. So Yog Maya controls the whole spiritual world, and Antaranga Shakti can be further divided into three. What are those? Hladini Shakti, Sambit, and Sandhini. So Hladini Shakti's personification is Srimati Radharani. Sandhini Shakti's personification is Balramji, because from Balramji, everything exists in the spiritual world.
All right. So basically, they take care of the spiritual world. And since we are the part from spiritual and the Bahiranga Shakti, so we are the marginal, the Tatastha one. So now
No. We are spiritual, but because of our misuse of independence, we have decided to be in the material world. So the soul is spiritual, but the body we get is material.
Yes.
In the spiritual world, the body and the soul, it's all one, all spiritual.
Okay. So when we talk about quantitatively same and qualitatively different, how to understand all this?
The other way. Qualitatively same,
Yes.
because quality-wise we are same as spiritual, but quantitatively different because we are very small, very minute.
Okay.
The size of the soul is 1/10,000th part of the tip of the hair. And also because we are in the material world, we got this material body, our consciousness gets covered over when we fall in the material world. So we forget our potencies. We are very powerful. The soul is very powerful because it's part and parcel of Krishna. But we forget. And that's why we come under the control of Maya. Otherwise, soul is powerful, more powerful than Maya.
That's what true, Prabhuji. So that's why we have got the position of Tatastha Shakti. So Tatastha wala position aane ke liye, so why, I mean, we are falling in trap to this Maya so much, and it looks very, very strong compared to the internal potency, because we are the, I mean, combination of both internal and external energy. But mostly I do see that Maya is very, very strong. What is that reason?
Okay, when you say we are both, combination of both spiritual and material, what do you mean by that?
I mean, body is the material and the soul is spiritual.
Yeah.
So
when we say we, actually we are spirit souls covered by a material body.
Yes. So ideally,
because we think we are this body, that's the first step of ignorance. And that's when we come under Maya.
Yeah, that's what, because of forgetfulness and remembrance comes from Lord Krishna itself. Lord Krishna himself mentioned it. So why remembrance doesn't come in forgetfulness? Always is there. I mean, forgetting that we are the soul.
Okay, now look at it this way. If there are prisoners in the prison house, in a jail, and they are there for a very long time, so basically they would forget they were at any time outside. So they would think this prison house is my all in all, right? They have to work, they have to get beaten up by the cops, police, or the other prisoners. And then they have their own dealings, and they get the food, they sleep, they again get up, they do work, they get beaten up. But they forget they're there from outside. So this is what Maya does to us.
Okay.
Maya is not more powerful than Krishna. Maya is not more powerful than the spirit soul. but the soul forgets. And because we have committed whatever sins against Krishna, so we are here and we have forgotten that we actually belong outside. And Krishna comes, reminds us. Krishna sends his representatives to remind us. If we remember, if we learn, and if we work sincerely to get out, of course, we cannot break the jail and get out. Krishna is there to help us for a release also. But that thing has to come from us. He's not going to force us to get out. Of course, yes. Nityanand Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they can force also. That's a different story.
So basically, it is us because of our own many lives past false karmic reaction only. We are entrapped by this Maya, and we feel like it is very strong because of our own actions. Okay.
Yep. And Maya is also doing Krishna's job only. It's not like she's acting on her own. Like a jailer does not act on his own. He acts on the powers given to him by the government. So Maya wants to make sure that we are pure enough, we are qualified to get out. So whatever test she gives, just imagine these are the tests, understand these are the tests. We just have to continue with our practices, that's all.
Okay, please. We are thankful that we got the opportunity in this lifetime to even to meet with pure devotees or to get the proper teachings or to know the real knowledge. But what about those who are completely into that ignorant mode, who do not know even who is Krishna? What is the possibility for them, Prabhuji? I mean, who will come and then ignite their dormant power?
Then beta, you have to go and preach.
The way you said that.
I'm not saying you preach to millions and millions, although you can, but whatever you can, whatever we all can. This is our service to Prabhupada. We try to preach, that's all.
I have no ability, and I myself is such a sinner and learner.
Soul, we just understood soul is part and parcel of Krishna. It is as powerful as Krishna. We have just forgotten our capabilities. And even if nobody's capable, Prabhupada is capable. So we just pray to Prabhupada to work through us. Actually, that's how it works. Preaching works exactly like that. Prabhupada works through that devotee.
Oh, okay,
so
you
pray to.
So, Prabhuji, you mean to say Lord Krishna even give a chance or keep possibilities for them also through the great Acharya like Prabhupada, time to time, I mean, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or like now we are getting an opportunity to learn from you. So time to time, Lord Krishna makes sure that I will even not let these people also go away just like that. So they send like that. That is what you mean to say, right?
Yeah, but I mean, one sentence was through me. That was the wrong sentence. Everything is happening because of Prabhupada. We all are, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, all the souls, every soul, whether in the body of whatever, Hindu, Muslim, animals, plants, insects, every soul is Krishna's part and parcel. Mame vansho jiv loke jiv bhuta sanatana. So Krishna is a father. He wants all the sons, kids to come back home, back to Godhead. Then he will be happy. This is what he wants. So anybody who tries to mitigate the pain of Krishna, of separation from all his all his part and parcel souls, Krishna is so pleased with that person. Right? Any father is unhappy because one son is out, his 5 sons are with him, but one son is out loitering in the street. And if somebody brings that son back to the father, how happy the father will be with that person who brought the son back. And if the father, and I give the example of 5 sons and 1 son, so the 5 sons who are with the father, they're very dear to the father, but father is always thinking of that son who ran away. It always happens like that.
Yes.
So this is what Krishna's love for us is. He's always thinking of us. But we are so stubborn, we don't want to go back.
So again, here it comes like the intention, like as in the Bhagavad Gita, I think in chapter 7 it mentioned about the 4 class of pious men like Artha, Artharthi, Jignasu, and Jnani. So Lord Krishna accept all these 4 class of pious people, and Lord Krishna himself said that the way whatever with that intention, if someone is approaching me, I put that faith in him, or I bestow the blessings upon him accordingly, according to their wish. So mostly, person like me always approach Krishna always for my own material desire, or for my own, expectation, anything from this material world. How about the possibility of such people? Like, suppose I just want to relate. Probably I'm not being able to frame the question very nicely, but in terms of Dhruv Maharaj, I did notice that he went to the jungle just to gain the country because he was hurt. So he prayed because of that so intensively and with so much of severe austerity. And at last, when Lord Krishna himself have given the vision in front of him, so he realized that it is just I was praying just for a glass. I mean, a small piece of glass, and the diamond is front of, just the diamond is now front of me. So now, why to even cry for the glass? Rather, he said that no, I don't want anything else. I want only you. So such kind of revelation is come automatically from the heart because of Paramatma himself revealed it, or he himself do that. Who does that actually? I wanted to know about this.
Depends upon the qualification of the soul. Paramatma reveals it. Now, Dhruv Maharaj's qualification was, first he followed the instructions of Narad Muni properly, and then he himself did so much of tapasya. So he got mercy of Narad Muni, and his tapasya purified him. So he got the mercy of the Lord. So Krishna is there within us to guide us all the time. And outside, spiritual master is there. Prabhupada is there through his books. He's guiding us. We just have to follow it properly. That's all. Whether we approach Krishna for some material benefits, or for take away our distresses, or for anything else, he will purify us. Don't worry. He will definitely purify us.
Prabhuji, all I seek your blessings. I'm struggling so much.
I am also struggling. I seek blessings of Radha Prabhu all the time.
Yes, I also request him.
He should bless us all.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
I guess we can. You're welcome. You're welcome. I guess we can stop here. You all have a wonderful and safe day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you, Moshi Mataji.
Thank you.